Hey, it's Doug here, and I wanted to pop in before we start the episode. Carl and I are in a car for this episode. We're in his Tesla, and there's no video for people watching on YouTube. There's no video. I took a picture, but basically I was like, hey, we'll just record the audio, and if you hear some background noise, that's what it is. Don't worry, Carl was very attentive while he was driving. That's in air quotes, when he was driving. And I mean, he was in the driver's seat. But anyway, because we were recording in the car, I actually did a heavy amount of editing. We had some great discussion in there. And you know how it is, guys on a road trip, we're in there talking about irrelevant stuff, which is how discussions on a road trip might go. But you're investing your time here. Investment is a very loose term, but we have a fun discussion. We go talk about just random shit. So I hope you enjoy it. And we do have some other episodes, some actually very exciting things coming up. So be sure to tune in for upcoming episodes. We got some news coming out. I believe, if I'm looking at my calendar right, it's the next episode. We have some big news for the show coming out. So without further ado, let's pass it over to Doug and Carl riding in the car. This is the Mile High Fi podcast with Carl Jensen and Doug Cunnington. We have authentic conversations about the journey to Fi, health, happiness, and some very odd tangents. We interview Fi experts, side hustlers, people on their way to Fi, and those who have reached the other side. Join us every week, and if you want the show notes and links and all that other stuff, head over to milehighfi.com.
Hello, world. Welcome to the Mile High Fi podcast. I'm Carl Jensen with my co-host.
I'm Doug Cunnington.
Doug, this is an interesting episode because of where we are recording from. Where are we recording from?
We're about to go in a tunnel. We're on the road on Highway 6, a canyon that goes from Golden to roughly Idaho Springs, and then we're heading out to Breckenridge. So yeah, we're in the car, which sounds dangerous. It actually seems slightly dangerous because Carl is kind of driving. Can you explain what's going on?
Yeah, so we are in my Tesla Model Y, and the car has the FSD software, which stands for full self-driving, which isn't really full self-driving because you got to pay very close attention. But we've probably gone, 50 miles. We're halfway there, and the car has done a good job. We haven't had to intervene at all. It is much better than it used to be, where it would try to run over people, which was not good.
And we decided not to do video so that we, at least Carl can pay a little more attention to driving. I thought about it, but yeah, for the folks on YouTube, there's no video. I'll take a picture so there's a screenshot just staying up there. But yeah, today we're going to talk about the state of the podcast a little bit, our general plans for the fall, and I don't know, we'll probably go on a tangent here or there. We just came up with a plan on what we were going to record for this episode. So we really don't have like pure stats. So I don't think that we'll let that hold us back.
Why let data or the truth hold us back?
Yeah, we don't need information or research. but yeah, state of the podcast. So we could talk about a couple things, overall downloads, just production schedule, that sort of thing. And I'll kick it off because, one of the main things is like number of downloads. And we actually got a question from a listener who has their own podcast, and they were trying to gauge if they should keep doing their show, if they had a good number of listeners, and a handful of other, just questions about podcasting, which is really tough. And I wasn't sure because some people, they get started in, maybe they only have 10 episodes, but this person had over 100 shows, something like that. It was quite a few. They'd put in some time, and it had been, a year plus. So anyway, I wrote back with some information, and for us, our show, it gets roughly about 5,000 downloads on the audio version, and it's been fairly static for a year plus or so. And we potentially get a few hundred to a few thousand views on YouTube. So, Carl, we don't look at the stats very often. Do you ever look at the stats?
No, I'll take a look at the YouTube views when I'm on there, but I don't even know how to check the download stats.
Okay. And 5,000 downloads per episode, how do you feel about that? Good or bad? Or
I don't know. I guess that's pretty successful. That's probably better than like 90 or 95% of podcasts. It's not like we're super killing it. I guess it would be nice to see steady growth over the long term, and it seems like we've been kind of steady, so maybe we work on that, and I'm not sure. We should always keep it fun. That shouldn't be the first thing we look at, I don't think, but if there's things we can do to reach more people, we're just out there to help, Doug, right? And we need to help as many people as we can.
Right.
So if we could reach more people, that would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about it? What is 5,000 good? Like, you're more into the technical part of it than I am.
It is pretty good. It's enough to have like a sponsor, which we have GhostBed, who's been sponsoring us for like over a year, I think. And you're right, it would be great to have sort of consistent growth, but that's pretty tough to do. I've talked to people with much bigger shows, and they had mentioned we're not losing listeners. We're holding steady, and we're happy with that because other shows were getting smaller. Now they were getting a lot more downloads than us, but I know there's some of our friends that have shows that have a similar number of downloads as us, and maybe not as much on the YouTube side. So from that perspective, and they have great shows, so from that perspective, I feel pretty good about it. That said, we're doing the bare minimum. We're like getting a show out. We're doing almost no promotion. You are on shows occasionally. We haven't talked about this, but I started pitching some of our other, peers or friends, because really the best way to grow a show is to be on other podcasts. And, while people are like, yeah, sure, we could have you on the show, it takes a little while to get that rolling. So yeah, we're literally not doing anything to grow it, so there's no growth happening.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Doug. I was thinking about something like we've sponsored some cool parties at like EconoMe and at FinCon. We've bought beers for people and pizza, and we don't even like give people a QR code or even tell us who we are. We're just like, okay, come to this party for free beer, and if we weren't so lazy, we could probably be a lot more successful.
Right. Well, and we gave out stickers with QR codes, and I just got a bunch more of those, but you can't force the show down people's. We should spread awareness, but I'm like, if they come and hang out or whatever, that's great, but eventually if they don't come back. But yeah, we do need to get out there and promote it. So yeah, live events are good. We potentially could just, like I said, just be on other shows because we have stories to tell. Other podcasts need those stories, so.
Yeah. So Doug, I know you said we shouldn't force it down people's throats, but are there other body orifices where we could force it down? And bear with me for a second, Doug. I've got an idea here. Like, all the swag you get is a t-shirt, like sometimes socks, but we've got like billions of t-shirts now. I have enough t-shirts to last me like 3 lifetimes. I don't need anything like that. How about, and we've talked about this in the past, how about some Mile Hi-Fi underwear? Well, because that's something we all could use. Like, I got to buy underwear every couple of years. I never have to buy another shirt because I get so many, but I do have to buy underwear. But we could come up with some nice like underwear, have our little plain logo in interesting places on the underwear. I don't know. It might promote it like to a couple. You see where I'm going with this, Doug? Like, I don't know. Take off your pants. Hey, what's that? Like a conversation starter in the middle of foreplay, right?
It is a conversation starter.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that. I just came up with that right now. But yeah, we can give something people they actually use. Like, I imagine there's people using our free t-shirts now to change the oil on their cars. But if we gave them underwear, we're in touch with them on a deeper level, I think, when they wear our underwear.
Yeah, you should design a few. We'll get some prototypes out there.
So
see what happens.
We've got the plane on our current one, but I'm really a rocket person. I love rockets and space, so I'll do the rocket underwear, and we could have something on there like, is that a rocket, or are you just happy to see me?
We are due for like a new logo or something like that.
Yeah, we could be that.
Refresh.
Instead of mile high 5, we could be like 100 miles high. Like, what's the, I forget what they call the demarcation line between space and not space. It's like 65 miles up or something like that. We could be, yeah, we'll come up with something.
So moving on from there, all right, we got the downloads. Any other stuff stated in the podcast? What topic areas are coming up?
Yeah, I think we should, probably the best way to get people to listen to it and to keep our listeners is just to make really, really good content, which is something I think we've improved. We've started using our laptops and done some other things to be better prepared, but I think we could still do more. I think we're on the right trajectory. There's so many podcasts that cover the nuts and bolts of like Roth IRA conversions. I was just listening to a couple really good ChooseFI episodes on that. But one thing I was thinking of, Doug, is we've got this happiness series coming up, which is something I think we both think a lot about. We've been retired, or so we say. We still make money, but the focus of our life now is happiness, right? We don't really have to work or earn more money. Therefore, we think about how we could add things to our life, which is what we're doing right now. We're on the road, going up to Breckenridge to hang out with a group of friends and stuff like that, like the next step, post-FI. How do we add to our lives and enrich our lives, which is a much harder and difficult problem. Like, you can look up how to do a 72T or a Roth conversion, but trying to find what lights you up and that happiness and purpose in life is really where it's at, and the hard part. And how many people stay at their jobs and move the goalposts because they have not figured that part out yet. So they just stay, they keep doing what's comfortable for them and do not move on.
So we got that happiness series, which is actually, it's going to be about at least 5 episodes or so, which we started to record, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago at the time that we're recording this. And we didn't finish. And basically we wanted to release all of these episodes in sequence at the same time. So we hung on to them. We at least have a couple more to do. And yeah, so that'll be good. Any other topics that come to mind where you know we're going to cover it?
Ooh, I think we have some pretty good guests coming up who are going to talk about that subject matter. And the one that comes to mind immediately is Doc G, who we're going to have on soon. He's coming out with a new book early next year. So we'll have him on. And our own book, that's really what it's about. It's not, it's How to Be Lazy, that's the working title, but it's not about doing nothing. It's doing less in your life so you can really do more of the stuff that makes you happy. So I think that'll be a big part of what consumes our time and our content in the fall.
How's the book coming? A lot of people ask me. They probably 15 people asked me over the past few months.
Yeah, I would say about the same for me. Our mutual friend Eric from Louisville. Do you know how to say that word, Doug?
I think you did. Yeah, you got it.
I don't know. I think they say it different. It's like Louisville or something like that. It's not that. Louisville. Okay. I can't roll my R's. I can't say that town with the L name. He was asking me about it. The kids went back to school this week, so we were talking a little bit yesterday. I'm going to put all the chapters together, finish my part, and then we will go from there. The damn thing better be done this year, though, or I don't know what I'm going to do. And this is all my fault. Like, Doug has been very good and finished his part and kind of checked out, I think, a little bit because I've been dragging my ass with other things. But now I feel like I'm in a good spot, or how stuff is wrapping up. Lots of other things in life are coming to a conclusion. So this is the next logical thing. It feels good, and I want to get it wrapped up.
And you told me that you thought maybe next summer, so 2025. Is that right?
To put the big push on, or
to have the book done.
Oh God, I want to have it done this fall. But
I mean, like, for people to purchase.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully that is the latest. I hope we would get it out before that. I don't know. What's a good time to release a book? Is summer a good time? It might be, right? People are on vacations and stuff. I
think that's the least of our worries. Whatever schedule works for you, man. Like, don't worry about when people are going to buy books. we're going to buy all the books anyway, and then potentially boost our rankings in Amazon and just game the whole system. I don't know how many we have to buy to get on New York Times, but if we make it cheap enough, then I think we can do it. Okay, all right. So you're thinking we may be able to finish the book by this calendar year?
I sure hope so. I better. Like, you're kind of done. And of course we
may have to rewrite my whole thing. I don't even remember what I wrote. Yeah. It's been like 9 months or something.
Well, I'm about to read through the whole thing, so I will let you know and make comments. But the ball is in my court. I will finish it up. Doug, I just thought of one hack. Maybe we register our own website, like the New York Times, with like 2 I's or 2 M's or something like that. And then that'll have a book list, and we'll be the #1 bestseller on the New York Times. Like, not the New York Times that everyone thinks about, but our New York Times.
Yeah, it's like time, like the herb.
Oh man.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, and I was like, I'm not sure. And there was a time when you mentioned the summer of next year, and I was like, all right, that'll give you plenty of time. Cool. Quick update. So we are on the road, and there's a little traffic jam and stuff like that. Police car on the side of the road. Does this car have a name?
The car's name is 2012, like 2012, the year.
2012. Okay. So 2012 did a good job.
Yes, there was a police car, and it moved over into the other lane like it should have. There was some big truck coming on fast in that lane, which worried me a little bit, but the car did all right. It did not kill us yet.
Luckily, I didn't see that big truck coming up behind us.
Yeah, he's about to fly past us here on the left.
All right. Okay, so we got some book writing coming our way again. And, so my thought is, once the first draft is done, we're only like 25% done. And there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to do from the marketing and sort of launch perspective that would potentially push it out like a couple more months. So that, even if we finished in this calendar year, I think it would take longer to do that other stuff. But we'll see. Because I kind of want to do the audiobook version as well.
Yes.
And I think that'll be harder than I think, but I think it'll pay off to have, and then we have all the microphones we need. All we have to do is record it, which, like I said, I'm sure it'll be much harder.
So do you anticipate just setting up like a situation in our recording studio now, and then we just sit there and read? Like, I don't know. I imagine if you record an audiobook, you probably have it on a teleprompter, right, where the words are going past you, and you just read off that. Ooh, there are mountain sheep on the side of the road.
Yeah, they're really close to the road.
Yeah.
I think a teleprompter situation might be fine, but we're kind of bare bones, so I think we would just have our laptop in front of us, and you would just scroll manually with your little fingers, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that. But we could there's teleprompt software, right? That's easy enough to do. The other part, and I've heard a couple audiobooks like this where they have their normal, the written word, they read it out, but then at the end of the chapter, they'll have a discussion. So it kind of is perfect for our podcast format. So, you could read your part, read your chapter, and then we'll chat about it. Maybe there was an interesting part when you wrote that. It was when we were in Leadville in 2022 writing it. Or no, it was 2023 when we were in Leadville, right?
Yes.
All right. So, but yeah, we could recall stuff or whatever, tell the other stories, the things that didn't make the book, and just have like sort of a little bit more content in the audiobook version.
I think that's a great idea. I'm sure one of the books you're thinking about where they did that is the David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's right.
And I thought that content that they had was super good because it's just him. He didn't actually read the book, but it's him and the guy who read the book, I believe, having a conversation about what he just read.
Yep. Yeah, and it just adds a little bit more, and I think it'll be like a little mini podcast at the end of each chapter. So that'll be something a little extra. That'll be pretty fun.
Oh man, I think that's such a good idea. I just got finished with Stephen King's new book of short stories, and Stephen King always does that as well. Like at the end of the book, he'll have a little description about each short story, and I think it adds a lot of value. Sometimes he tells about what prompted him to write about that thing, or he'll tell a story about the writing process or some other thing, but I always think it's fascinating because this book is kind of behind the scenes into our lives a little bit, into how we're thinking about retirement, but that's like a behind the scenes. So meta.
It is, yeah. Super behind the scenes. Okay, cool. Anything else you can think of with the book?
I think it might be neat. This might be a goal for us, Doug, to do something at EconoMe, and I'm thinking about how our friend Jeremy Schneider, who was on the podcast before, talked about his new company, Nectarine, is it, with the CFPs. Maybe Diana would let us do something or promote somehow, maybe not one of us going on stage, but maybe we do something with EconoMe. Maybe we even sponsor it and give people some books and have her give us a shout out if she would do that. But
that's great. Well, I was just thinking about, we've talked several times about getting the Dumb and Dumber like tuxes, the orange and the blue tux.
Yeah.
And I think us on stage with those tuxes would be really cool. But just short, like Jeremy did, it's like 2 minutes or so, and we just talk about ourselves, talk about the book for a second, and we look like idiots with those tuxes.
We'll think of a good way to do it. We could go to the parties with the tuxes, the Rheingeist.
That's a good idea. We could, yeah, and I have been thinking, like, we can give books to the attendees there.
What do you think should be on the cover of the book? Have you thought about that yet, like the cover art?
No, I sure haven't. How about you?
No, I haven't thought about it either. I know there's a book that I think both of us read where they have a sloth on the cover, so we can't have that. That's been done. Maybe we have some caricature of ourselves on there.
What about two sloths, but they're made to look like us? We'd have to get a good artist to make us look like sloths and stuff, but
it might not be too hard.
Yeah, we could just be hanging out on a tree. What book is that has a sloth on it?
I don't remember. You had it in Leadville when we were up there.
Right.
I can't remember. It's Lady.
Is it Do Nothing?
I think that might be it.
We'll have to think of other lazy animals.
Yeah.
Well, they're not lazy. They just move slow, right?
Yeah, it's an evolutionary adaptation, right? Because if they move fast, the birds would spot them, so they get all this shit the poor sloth does for being slow and lazy. And they're really not. It's a survival mechanism.
They're very cute, I think.
Yeah, it's evolution in action.
I think they have pretty big teeth, though, don't they?
And they've got big claws, too. I think they've actually, killed people before with their claws, sever your femoral artery or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, don't fuck with sloths. Of course, you could see it coming because they don't move that fast.
I was gonna say, yeah.
If you get killed by a sloth, you've done something wrong with your life.
Yeah. Everything's fine.
This person behind me is flashing their lights, which usually means they want to pass you, but they're way behind me, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm going to move over, encourage
Maybe they're listeners.
Yeah, maybe
we're recording.
Trying to get our attention.
One other piece of content that we'll probably do is an update with Elizabeth, my wife. So she retired. It's been several months now. She's having a blast. She really likes it. She doesn't know why she worked before. Only it's been once or twice she's had a small existential type crisis, but I think that happens to people sometimes, even if they are working. So I think it's fine. And within a day, she was like, "Oh yeah, this is way better. Not working is far superior to working." We'll get an update from her probably every 6 months or so, something like that. But a lot of listeners out there did mention they want to get updates as we go here, but mini update, everything's great. She's having a blast.
I like these stories a lot because even a lot of the content creators who talk about FI wear out and they'll quit before they retire, so there's not that many stories about post-FI people and how to be successful with life there, so it's pretty neat to see it in action with Elizabeth.
And she did a good job with having some activities, but not too many, and a lot, but not all. A lot of the activities are somewhat social. So, and the other part we've mentioned it so many times is just living in Longmont. There are a lot of people that have free time that you can socialize with, and super helpful. I think it'd be, and there's more and more people that are FI or in the FI world that are moving to Longmont. I feel like you were telling me maybe a couple or multiple couples have moved here recently, right?
Yeah, there's one who we met at Camp FI, one couple that moved here like just last week, actually. There's another one in the process of buying a house that we also met at Camp FI, the tennis players. And there's two more, another couple with a baby that are moving here in September. So that's 3 different families that are moving here in the next month. And it's pretty interesting. And that is why they all moved here, because of the draw of the community, which is pretty crazy.
And do you think, so we talk about it a lot, and while our show isn't like super huge, like several, like 1,000 people listen to it each week, do you think, I know Pete mentioned it on his blog, you talk about it, but do you think it's because of us in this show why all the people are moving? Because we talk about it so much.
I think there's a couple people, like the people who are moving in September actually are listeners of Mile High Fi, and they I had a big conversation with them over email, but probably not nearly the Pete effect. He's probably like 50x our effect.
Yeah.
We probably get people that move away from Longmont. They're like, man, these clowns move there. These clowns are there. We're not living there, or we're going to move away from them. We need to put some distance between us and them.
Yeah. Pete's blog's pretty big, so yeah. I think you're right about our impact. Any other things you could think of that we're going to be getting up to here?
Yeah. What do you look forward to this week? We're headed up to Breckenridge to spend time with some new and old friends. What are you looking forward to doing for these 4 or so days that we'll be up there for?
Number one, we're going to be able to catch up with a couple people that we haven't seen in a while, which will be fun. And then there will be new folks, which they're pretty good friends with the people that we do know, so we know they're good people. We're going to climb a 14er, so we're going to do Quandary, and that is just, I think it's like 15-20 minutes south of Breck, and that I haven't done it before. I think it's a fairly straightforward hike. All the 14ers are challenging or anything in that sort of elevation, but nothing too weird. We don't have to get up super early because you could just drive to it within 20 minutes or so. The last part here is much cooler. We're leaving Longmont when it was like 100 degrees or so, and it's going to be 20 degrees cooler at least. The mornings will be very crisp, so I'll enjoy that. I want to get out of the heat. What about you? What's on your list here?
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it was, speaking of the heat, it was in the 90s when we left, and I'm looking at the temperature gauge now, and it is 78, and we aren't even up as high as we will be, so super looking forward to that as well. It'll be neat to meet these old friends and meet these new people too. You had mentioned a game, was it Tickleball or Pickleball? I don't know, it sounded kind of vulgar, Doug. Which?
Yeah, Tickleball. That's right. I'll show you. I'll show you how to play. And don't worry, the rules are they're super easy.
I don't think I want to play that with you, Doug. Can you play it with yourself?
Yeah. Actually, it is one of those games you can play with yourself. And a lot of people end up playing Tickleball, and they don't even know the name of it. But like many things, it's more fun if there's more people there. So.
Okay, I hope my bedroom has a door that locks.
Yeah, the funny thing, we're sharing a room, bunk beds.
Okay, I might drop you off and head back home. No, yeah. But really, yeah, it'll be cool to be up in this beautiful mountain town. Hopefully not watching you play Tickleball. I know, Doug, you're an excellent cook, and what did you bring? Tell the audience what you
Brisket.
cooked.
Yeah. So I smoked a brisket a couple days ago and vacuum sealed it up. I could do a pretty good Texas-style brisket, so I think it'll be pretty amazing. I think we're eating it tonight.
Yes.
I love smoking a big brisket like that. I got a 17 pounder. It was a giant brisket. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've had your brisket before, and it is excellent.
What else are you looking forward to?
It'll be nice. Just hopefully not do much of anything. I did bring all my book notes up. My knee's a little screwy, so if I have downtime, I'm going to work on our book. Sit around and not do much of anything. I've told you some of my sleep issues, and I've been trying to meditate a lot more. If I find myself with nothing to do in the middle of the day, I'll count 100 breaths with my eyes closed and just try to relax. So I hope there's lots of downtime up here, time to just not do much of anything.
Yeah, speaking of sleeping, yeah, we can talk about that a little bit here. And it's a perfect time to mention our sponsor, Ghost Bed. And Carl, you have one of these Ghost Bed classic mattresses. What is the experience of laying in sleeping on that mattress?
I do. It's great. It's a lot cooler than the normal memory foam mattress I sleep on. It's a little bit firmer, but yeah, I've taken a nap on it, and it was great. And all of our guests, it is in our guest area, so all of our guests have slept on it, and they all have rave reviews. It's got to the point, Doug, where we had someone that was coming to sleep over, and he was like, I can't wait to sleep on the Ghost Bed. And I'm like, well, Mark, actually, our rental house is empty and it's furnished. So we thought it might be a little bit nicer to put you up there. And he was disappointed that he could not take the Ghost Bed for a drive.
These are awesome beds. So I have one of the pillows as well. And I was telling you earlier, Carl, I need to test the classic, which is the mattress that you have, because we're planning on getting one. So I'll be able to say I sleep on one every day. You've been having some sleep issues, and some of it was travel related. Did you address the issues? Are you sleeping better now?
I am sleeping better. It's still not perfect. I look at my deep sleep and my REM sleep, and then I look at what I'm supposed to be getting, and it is nowhere near what it should be. So I still have work to do, but we'll see what happens. I'm actually thinking about getting a different mattress because Mindy hasn't slept that well. And to be clear, not the Ghost Bed mattress. We're thinking about getting a Ghost Bed mattress to replace the primary mattress that we slept on. Like, Doug, how often should someone replace a mattress? I think based on our conversation before we recorded, you've done a little bit of research into this.
Not enough research, so I'll just wing it. But I know some acquaintances of mine mentioned that they get a new mattress every 5 years or so, which is far below the warranty period for most beds. The Ghost Bed, for example, has a 20-year warranty. So the thing is, they're replacing it often, but they're getting sort of lower-end mattresses. So their thought was, hey, we're going to get these lower-end mattresses, but we're going to get them way more frequently. And I was like, that's a pretty good idea. And the thing is, like our mattress, we're due for a new one-ish. Ours is fine. We're actually sleeping pretty well, but it's about 10 years old. So how old's yours?
Probably about 7 or 8 years.
It's probably okay, but you guys are not sleeping that well. The thing is, you've had sleep issues like, what, for as long as I've known you, right?
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. I used to sleep really good as a kid. It would take me a little bit longer to fall asleep, but once I was asleep, I would sleep through the entire night. And now I usually wake up 2 or 3 times, and most of the time I can go back to bed pretty quickly, but not always. And I just wish I would sleep through the whole night and not have to try to get myself to go back to sleep. It's highly annoying. It's like the same time every night too, like 1 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, like it's almost to the minute. It's kind of amazing actually. Like, how does the body keep time like that? But as amazing as that is, it would be more amazing to sleep through the whole freaking night.
Are there any nights of the week where you sleep through the whole time and you're like, wow, that was great?
Maybe once every 2 weeks. Maybe I'm playing too much Tickleball. Maybe that's my issue. If I cut that out, I'd probably sleep a little bit better.
Solo Tickleball. That usually helps people sleep, actually.
Yeah, I think I'm doing it wrong.
So one of my theories was that you were working out too much and too often. Because you've said you got like 25,000 steps per day, right?
Yeah.
Even when you were traveling, you were like, I'm working out every day. Like you only missed like 1 day or something, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, when's the last time you took like a 2-week break?
It's been many, many months. Probably, when did we see? I kind of started my new workout routine when we saw Barrett Barrett from ChooseFI. We saw him in Arizona. Was that back in February?
February, yeah.
Yeah, I've been pretty on it since then. So however long that's been.
All right.
6 months.
And what do you think? Do you think resting or like just stopping working out and let your body recover, do you think that's it? You must believe that working out makes you sleep better.
I don't know. I didn't think it would help me or hinder my sleeping. I guess if anything, I thought it would help it. So just to be clear, I always work out first thing in the morning, so it's not like working out at 7 p.m. would be bad because I get myself all amped up and then I wouldn't be able to sleep. So I do it first thing in the morning and then I relax the rest of the day. I might go for a walk, but that's about it. So I don't think it would hinder my sleep, but you seem to think it would, so I'm kind of curious to hear what you have to say about it, because I'm kind of addicted to it now. When I get on something, I don't want to stop, but you've suggested I stop, and I'm thinking about actually doing it this week. We've got like 4 days up in the mountains, and I did a big workout this morning actually, so I could rest for like 3 or 4 days and see what happens. And I mentioned this to you before, Doug. This is slightly alarming, but my heart rate, like when I was at my best cardiovascular condition, it was, I think, in the low 50s maybe. It's been 75 lately, which is way, way, way too high. I've been focusing on the weight stuff. I just got back into level 2 cardio stuff. Mm-hmm. If that's even I don't think that's even considered cardio. But just to kind of lose a little bit of weight, because I think that's part of my issue, and that seems to be working. But yeah, I'm curious. I just spew out a lot of stuff there. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I think your overall body is stressed out, and especially with your heart rate up. So I've had a similar experience. So I was like, I'm going to work out harder, and I did, and I was like, I'm getting stronger. I was eating more and stuff, which is good. I wanted to put on some muscle, but my heart rate was up a little higher, and I was like, all right, I want to add a little cardio in here too. So like the volume of stuff that I was doing was higher. And actually I slept pretty good some of those days because I was pretty tired from all the working out. But my resting heart rate was like creeping up. And I was like, that's weird. And it went from whatever, the high 40s to low 60s. No alcohol either. So anyway, I was like, you know what, I'll take a couple days off. And then it would take often 2 days or so, but my heart rate dropped back down, like it dropped into the mid 40s. I mean, I slept great too. So anyway, the overall point is I was probably overworking myself. We're getting older and it takes longer to recover. We're doing like too many body parts or whatever. You were telling me, like, you're in the gym for a couple hours if you're doing like all upper body, and it's like, maybe you can do that, but then you have to give yourself like 4 days off after that. And walking is fine, but I wouldn't like do anything super strenuous. So I'd give it a shot. When you stop working out and then you go back to the gym, do you find that you're stronger when you go back?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever really tested that out, except when I've like quit, gotten lazy and stopped, but that really doesn't count. So I'm kind of curious. What I will do now, Doug, is today is Sunday, right?
Yep.
I will not do my next workout, and I did a really solid workout today. It took me an hour just to get through my back and chest exercises, so I feel like I really worked it today. I will not do another upper body workout until Friday, so that'll be 4 good days of rest, hopefully.
And no leg workout either, right?
Yeah, besides walking, I guess, does our 14er, if I do that, does that count as a leg workout?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. Definitely strenuous, but not the same as like doing squats and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm curious because I don't have a big data set, but I listened to that Mind Pump podcast that we've talked about in the past.
Yep.
And yeah, basically, they encourage people, especially, you said, once I get into something, you get addicted, and it's like, yeah, okay, like you just said, you overdo it to the point where it's like you don't get enough rest the night before. Do you work out the next day?
Yeah.
The answer is yeah, you do. It's like, don't work out the next day. If you got a bad night of sleep and you're traveling, like, get the rest. Like, don't stress your body. So I think you just stressed your body like day over day over day, and then you're waking up in the middle of the night. Are you thinking about stuff?
You know what? I used to, but I've become pretty good about what I have to do. Sometimes thoughts will come into my mind and I just immediately shut them down. I don't let my brain entertain them at all.
Nice.
And I've become pretty good at shutting my mind down. I think just working on meditation during the day. The car was a little shaky there. We're getting off on an exit to get a charge. Yeah, I've been pretty good about shutting my mind down. That isn't the issue that it used to be for me.
That's good. That's good. But otherwise, your body's like stressed out. So that's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. And I think I mentioned this to you offline. I give myself 2 days of rest. So if I did my upper body workout today, which is Sunday, I wouldn't do another workout till Wednesday. In the past couple workouts, I've still been sore. Like 2 days of rest is enough usually, but because I've gotten such poor sleep, I'm still sore even after that. So that cannot be a good thing.
Right. Are you eating enough?
I think so. I've been eating tons of protein. Like that's the primary thing. I've been trying to get my protein from diverse sources, and yeah, I don't think that is the issue.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see if you give yourself some days off here. All right. Well, that whole segment was brought to you by GhostBed. We love the GhostBeds over there, and it sounds like we're both going to be upgrading and actually getting those mattresses pretty soon. So thanks to GhostBed, you can go to ghostbed.com/milehighfi and save 50% on anything store-wide. I believe it covers everything. So we're going to pause here for a second. It looks like we're going to charge this baby up.
Yep, here we go. Supercharger. There are a lot of people here, actually. It's kind of surprising.
All right, we're back.
Okay, so Doug, the final thing I wanted to run by you is I had all these fancy blood tests done, and one thing the doctor pointed out was my vitamin D was super low, like it was below the lowest threshold of where it should be, and the doctor called that out. So I wonder if that could be affecting my sleep, because I know vitamin D can screw you up in other ways. Do you know anything about this? Have you ever read about this?
Yeah, so I had a little low vitamin D when I lived in Bozeman. Long winters, higher latitude, so the days are shorter, so you get less sunlight. So mine was a little bit low. I don't know all of the things that can manifest if you have low vitamin D, but it's like all encompassing. It's like your sleep, I think like your immune system, handful of other things. Have you done more research, I guess, now that you figured out that it's low?
I have not. I should have actually looked it up, but I just, I was reminded of it. I'd kind of forgotten about it because the doctor's like, here, take these vitamin D supplements, try to be outside with less clothes on. And unfortunately, I kind of let the ball drop, not the Tickleball, the proverbial ball. But anyway, I was listening to the Mind Pump podcast, and some guy called in. He was low on vitamin D, and getting that back up seemed to fix a lot of his issues, so maybe it'll fix mine too. So if I'm topless, and maybe even less than that this week that we're up in Breckenridge, that's why, Doug, I'm not trying to be an exhibitionist.
You did have, there's like a hot tub and a sauna and some other stuff, and you inquired if it was clothing optional, which as far as I know it's not, but you said you had the Speedo. It was a special order, right? They didn't have the size that you needed.
It's a very minimal Speedo. It just covers what needs to be covered and nothing else.
And you had to get like extra, did you say it was like a pouch? It was like an extra?
Yeah. It's tiger stripes. It's great. It was a custom order, but yeah, I think I'm going to play Tickleball wearing it too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, a lot of times people don't wear those when they play Tickleball.
I should just go the full with nothing at all, or
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
Okay, but yeah, I need to get the vitamin D, so we'll see how that does.
So just to update people, so we're still on the road. We did stop. That was my first experience at one of the supercharger Tesla station. What do you call that?
Yeah, that's exactly it, a supercharger.
Okay. And it was right at a Starbucks. If people are familiar with the area, it's the Silverthorne Starbucks there. We're about to hop off. There's a beautiful lake over here. I mean, it's just it's amazing we only live 2 hours away from this.
We're so fortunate. I got to, one of my goals, we talked about this a little bit before in a previous episode, is especially post-kids when our schedules aren't so tight, to find a way to spend more time up in the mountains. We don't come up here enough. It's like people who live like 3 blocks away from the beach and then they never go to the beach. That's kind of like us, so, although I think we're up here a little bit more than that. We make use of it, but not as much as we could.
And we've done better this year with Elizabeth stopping working and retiring. I was in Breckenridge 2 weeks ago or so for the timeshare presentation. Obviously, we can't do that super often because you have to wait 6 months, but I'll go back to that damn place again and listen to them, and they'll know I'm not going to buy anything, But
nice.
But it's a good town. We're driving through Frisco, and Breckenridge is very nice. So, have you spent much time in Frisco?
I have. I've camped here, and then it's really nice to camp here because you can walk to the downtown. It's maybe a mile away. You take some nice little trails, and the main street of Frisco is super beautiful. So, yeah, Frisco is great.
And when you say camp, you're not a tent camper. Like, how do you camp when you camp?
No, I'm done with the tent. We have a Honda Element, so I've slept in the back of that. But this Tesla that we're riding in now has something called camp mode, so it'll power down all the systems in the car except for the HVAC. So you could say keep it at 67.
How low will it go? That sounds amazing, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll probably go as low as you want it to go. I think 60 is the low temperature on the car.
Okay, that's about right for me.
And they have some electric, like obviously you'll use a little bit of the battery, but not that much. But they even have some sites with plugs, so you just plug the thing in. So if I were to come camp up here, that is what I would do. Car camp, Tesla camp.
Very cool. All right, well, we're about to stop at this brewery called Outer Range, and I think that wraps up the episode. So if y'all have any questions out there, please shoot us an email, carl@milehighfi.com or doug@milehighfi.com. We share an email account, so, if you send it to one of us, both of us get it, so don't say anything bad in there. It's not like a private thing.
Yeah,
For that, you can reach out directly to us.
I saw that one listener asking about Tickleball. I think they had attached some pictures. I'm like, I'm just not going to look at these. So, yeah, maybe we should get our own private email addresses at some point.
No, that was me. That was my... I thought you'd look at it. Okay, cool. Thanks for checking out the episode, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the show. That was the Mile High Fi podcast, and I'm Doug Cunnington, the balder host, and Carl Jensen is the cool, sexy one. If you dig the show, please do 3 things for us. Number 1, tell a friend, a family member, an enemy about the show. We really don't care who you tell. Maybe forward them a specific show that you know that they will like. It's the single most helpful thing that you can do to spread the word. It's like giving us a virtual high five, and actually we don't give high fives in person, so the virtual kind's pretty good. And more importantly, your friend or family member or even your enemy will appreciate the fact that you were thinking of them. Number 2, make sure you're following or subscribed on your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, whatever you're using, and that way you won't miss a show. And number 3, please leave us a rating and review. We read them on the show occasionally, and you might hear yours out there on an upcoming episode. Quick disclaimer, this show is not financial or legal advice. I'd actually be surprised if it sounded like it. It's really just for entertainment, and that's at least what we're hoping for. But seriously, get advice from professionals. Carl and I are just 2 guys with microphones that sit in my basement and talk. So we'll catch y'all next week.
And all right, so we're driving through a canyon, and we're in your Model Y.
Yes, this is super beautiful. We are outside of Golden on our way up to Breckenridge, and we aren't driving. The car is driven. The car has driven the whole way, and we have not had to intervene at all, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's surprisingly, I don't know if I want to say it makes me feel safe, but going through the canyon, it's great. There's not much going on. It's like a single road here, but on the highway, when you're going on past like intersections and stuff, that's where it gets a little, you got to watch a little closer. It seems like you do. Are you used to it now?
No, I don't think it's a good idea to be used to it. Do you remember when we were in Breckenridge before?
Yeah.
I think it was an earlier version. It was about, when was that? Like 9 months ago. There was that lady in the intersection, and the car decided it didn't like that lady, and it kind of went for her. I thought it was going to run her over, and I intervened, of course.
Yeah, it was heading right directly towards her.
Hopefully it's better now. That was
she was in the crosswalk too.
Yeah, she was doing nothing wrong. It was all the car. But I think it's in a better spot. I don't think it would do that today, but I still pay super attention just in case. It would really be bad to run someone over, especially for them.